Did I like Superman? I loved Superman. I loved it. Absolutely. Found it fantastic. Personally, I feel like it put us right back on track where we're supposed to be. Like, guys, I do not dislike Henry Cavill. I've said this multiple times in the Superman reviews. If you want to hear my thoughts on Superman, there's a couple of things. There's a there's a Superman video on this channel where I talk about Dark Superman, thoughts on Dark Superman. There's another one on this channel called Can't You Tell, where it talks about the Superman and his secret identity and why it works. And then there's a third video, which is a costume review on Fandom Night, where I get to talk about a lot of Superman stuff. And I talk about why Superman is so important and why you cannot do a dark, broody, serious Superman. I think Henry Cavill wanted to be the Superman, and I think he had the ability to do so. And I think his movie did him no favors. That's how I feel. I think Henry Cavill was hurt by the script and the movie he was in, and he never got a real chance to be Superman. He was just like a fan fiction version of Superman. That's how he always felt to me. He never felt right, ever. Not a single movie. Not once. I saw moments in those movies where I said, "Oh, that's good. I like that," and then it would go on being what it is, and I'd be like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, I have a complicated thing with that because I know he could do it. He was never given the chance to do it, personally. In fact, if you want to know the Superman that I think got robbed, it was Brandon Routh. He got robbed. He got a chance to make up for it because he came back in a series and got to play Superman again. But he got robbed. I think he could have been a terrific Superman, an unbelievably terrific Superman. But he just did not. He just didn't get the chance. I think that's really what happened to him. I honestly believe so. Because he had it. He had the look. He had the attitude. He had the grace. I really, really believe he could have been one of the best Superman we ever got. He got one movie. It was not perfect. I get it. And then they just gave up. I think he got robbed. Nicolas Cage got robbed. Like I said, I've learned over the years to try to put my feelings aside when it comes to casting. But I never wanted to see Nicolas Cage be Superman. I've never been stuck in that where I go, oh man, that would have been so amazing to see or whatever. I got nothing for it. Like, there's never been a moment at any time in my life where I've looked at all that stuff and gone, oh, we got robbed. I'm perfectly fine in my life not having Nicolas Cage Superman. 100%. Doesn't bother me at all. This new Superman just got beat up the whole movie. That I didn't care for. And why did James Gunn have to make every male character in this movie cry? Oh, okay, so first off, men can cry, okay? So I'm not 100% sure where that's coming from. They can. Second, a Superman in the comic books gets beat up all the time. Because you're looking at a universe where Green Lanterns exist. You're looking at a universe where magic is regular. You're looking at a universe where other Kryptonians show up. You're looking at a universe with Doomsday. You're looking at a universe with things like Amazons, like Wonder Woman. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in DC that can smack Superman around. Just like there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that cannot. So Superman, in the context of this movie, even when he is getting beat up, it's a disadvantage due to a situation. He's trying to save a baby, and he's got a bunch of guys on him. That makes it hard to save a baby, because he doesn't want the baby to get wounded. He's doing everything in his power to fight against the situation and save a baby. You got a Superman where it's all situational. Like, he's affected by kryptonite. Yes, you have Molecule Man. That puts him at a disadvantage. You have a very realistic landscape in terms of the world and how they might view Superman, and how him putting himself in situations that may be none of his political satire and business, that can cause problems as well. So, like, and also things like his dad crying and whatnot. I don't know your age, but like, if I was sitting at home and all of a sudden somebody came in with my kid, and my kid was sick to where their like veins were popping out and they looked like they were dying, and then I had to walk my kid into my home, my kid that's always been strong and always been healthy, and I lay them down on the bed and he's unresponsive, I'm gonna cry. I'm sorry. I'm man enough to admit I'm not super strong like that. Okay, I'm not going to be okay with that. That would destroy me. To have to see my kid like that, that's terrifying. And then the only line of communication I have is to a person who just tells me, Mr. Terrific says that he's going to be okay. I have to take you on your word. Man, I hope so. Like, I'm just saying, like, I think this idea that he got, like, beat up is overblown. And I think this idea that, like, people have feelings is overblown. Like, people have feelings. They do. I don't think that's a flaw necessarily. Like, there was very little to nothing that I didn't like about this Superman movie. And when it came right down to it, he was also fighting so we're going to call spoilers real quick. He was also fighting another Kryptonian who was younger and stronger than he was. He's going to get beat up. He would get beat up if he had to fight a Daxamite that was younger and stronger than he is. So, like, he's gonna get beat up. And do you really want him to just steamroll the entire DC universe? Like, people often say that their problem with Superman, and bad writers say this, is that he's hard to challenge because he's completely unbeatable. Do you want to see a movie where nothing can challenge him? Like, nothing? You just want him to steamroll the entire DC universe and be the strongest thing that ever existed ever in the history of ever? I mean, maybe that could be fun, but that's also very boring because, like, what are we here for? We're here to see heroes deal with adversity and move us forward and give us hope and show us what can be and move past their own limits and deal with their own existential crises and things like that. And then we will learn from that. I mean, superheroes are modern day mythologies. So, like, they're meant to tell grandeur stories. So I don't know. Like, I've heard this argument a lot, that Superman was, like, weak in this movie. He just fought things that were on his level. But anytime he came up against anything that was not on his level, he put it down fast. Like, real fast. Like to the point where it was an absolute joke fast. And he cared. And that is so Superman. I loved that Superman movie, and I cannot wait to buy it. I've already seen it in the theater 3 times, and I can't wait to own it. I loved it. Brandon was great in Crisis. Yes, he absolutely was. The funny thing is, had not Warner rushed to get out Batman vs Superman, we could have had Man of Steel 2. We could have had the Brainiac on the big screen, which would have been real cool, by the way. I would have been very interested to see how they would have played that out. But now that we have Supergirl building, Supergirl is more intertwined with Brainiac, and it'll be interesting to see how they play that out on a bigger scale, where Supergirl starts the situation and then we all kind of come forward to deal with him. I'm very much looking forward to that. To me, in my opinion, it was the weakest and softest Superman I've ever seen. And I don't know your age, okay? So I'm going to say that. I don't know your age. But I've noticed in the last couple years, they've tried to make Superman hard. Like, in most show, on live action, movies and whatnot, they've been going out of their way to make Superman kind of a little darker and hard. They want him to be like a badass. He's not meant to be that. When Superman stands next to Batman, they should not be the same attitude. Ever. And I get it. Superheroes change over the years. They do go through changes. That's inevitable. But Superman is for everyone. He is the utmost symbol of hope and the utmost symbol of what we want to be. And he can very much show us what we're not currently. I don't know. I loved him. I think that this is the Superman I have personally been waiting for a while now. I have not liked a Superman project since Brandon Rolfe. Well, aside from the shows. And Superman won. I'm not Team Snyder. I'm not Team Gunn. I'm Team Superman. Definitely not a Snyder fan either. Superman gets knocked down, but he gets up again. Ain't nothing gonna break it. Dang it. Empathy is punk rock is what Superman's message was. We live in a time where certain people think empathy makes you not a man for some reason. And it does feel like that. It feels like if you side with... I get it. Very much so. We very much live... It feels like that sometimes. I don't have feelings, and I'm mad you told me I did. I'm sorry. I apologize. I was wrong. Not everybody has feelings. You are exempt from my statement. I apologize. Hey, what's going on, man? Understandable, but why did he get beat up? The engineer chick... He did, but see, that's just it. I think people were expecting a little too much. Superman doesn't want to hurt somebody. He didn't want to hurt her. If Superman had went off half-cocked, he could have taken his eyeballs, blasted a ray at her, and annihilated. He could have wiped her from the planet instantly. He doesn't want to hurt people, even the bad guys. Oftentimes, the damage that Superman takes and the losses and the hits that he takes is because he doesn't want to just hurt somebody. He doesn't want that. So when she's coming at him, it is not until she threatens his very life, like getting in his lungs, that he finally says, she's got to go. She's got to go. And that's when he did that trick where he flew up in the air and came down literally like a meteorite. Until then, he's just fighting. And he's also dealing with Ultraman while he's fighting her. So, yeah, she's getting hits on him, but none of her hits really mattered. I mean, if you really stop and watch that movie, she's not a danger to him. She stands no chance at all, except for that tiny little trick where they took his lungs away from him and then started burying him in the nanites. That was the only moment that even came close to being a problem for him. And even still, he was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. She's got to go. Like, this Superman is not weak. I would argue some of his feats of strength that we witnessed in this movie put him on par with every Superman we have ever seen on screen, if not easily trouncing some of them. Superman the Animated Series and Justice League is my favorite because it has a good balance. I thought the new Superman was neat. I'm a Christopher Reeve fan. Superman 1 and 2 are the best. And yeah, Reeve is, that's my go-to. If you have to ask me who is Superman, it's Reeve. It's Reeve. It's hands down. It's not a question. He is the best representation of Superman that I have ever seen in my entire life, ever. And yet, I would tell you that combat-wise, I realize that those movies are things of their time. He was only really threatened in one movie. The worst one. In Superman 4, he fights an enemy that can actually beat him. He didn't even get a scratch on his face fighting 3 Kryptonians. It's kind of, I mean, I get it, but like, probably the best fight in the city was the one that we didn't even see in the sewers. Like, I'm just saying, like, it was a thing of its time, but like, the most serious fight he had in all 4 movies was Superman 4. Or maybe 3, depending on what your idea of that whole scene and interpretation was. But like in 1, he's completely unstoppable and completely invulnerable, and there's nothing that can mess with him, and they try to outsmart him. And even then, it's not necessarily believable because they put a chain around his neck and he can't just like take the chain off. I get that he's sick. He's Superman, there's kryptonite, he's not feeling too good. But like, he's underwater and he's lifting up the chain and he just can't figure it out. I'm a guy, just a guy, and you'd have put that thing around my neck and threw me in the water, and if nothing else, I could have just like leaned my head down and then swam away from it. Obviously he could swim. He's swimming. He's not drowning immediately. I'm just saying, he's able to tread water for a good deal of time. He has the strength. He just like won't take it off. In the new movie, there's a guy who is literally able to make himself out of kryptonite, and he's sitting in a tiny box with Superman. And he can't take that guy out, and he can't remove that guy, and he can't step away from that guy. And every time he tries to talk to that guy just throws the kryptonite into his face. So, like, that's more believable to me than Lex put a necklace on him and he can't take the necklace off. That's goofy. I love that movie, but that's goofy. The logic of it is completely broken and ridiculous. And then in the second movie, he fights 3 Kryptonians, which he's on par with, or relatively, you could argue, stronger than them, because they can't even put a mark on him. And then he takes him to the fortress, where he does a bunch of powers that like don't even make sense for Superman. Like he like duplicates himself with like, I'm guessing projectors. I'm guessing it's like something that he gets in that universe, a security system or something. And he throws a cellophane S, and it just like really inconveniences Non for a second. But it's not really a big deal. It's just kind of weird. And I get it. He is my Superman. But I mean, for people to go this hard on the new movie and not call out the ridiculousness of the original movies, it just feels... It feels funny to me, is what I'm saying. I gotta fix this. There. People got too used to the way Man of Steel's Superman fights went. They got used to the Dragon Ball Z style battles, not realizing that it's not all about brawls and how crazy we can get. Fingernails of Doom! He just goes, and then he's like, scratches his name. It's so bad. It's so bad. But the fight on the moon... Look, guys, for its time, the fight on the moon is pretty legit, man. Metamorpho? Yes, absolutely. It's a product of its time, the 70s, Bill. They were going to get jiggy with the powers. My favorite Superman is from the Justice League cartoon. But in terms of live action, yeah, it's Reeves. I like Superman Justice League cartoon after season 1. I'm just going to say, you want to see a weak Superman? You want to see a weak Superman? Watch season 1 Justice League. All he does is get rocked over and over and over and over and over by stuff that should not be a problem for him. like absolutely should not be a problem with him. They made him the weakest guy on the team in a lot of early episodes in season 1. Like, it's unbelievable how often he's just getting flattened by stuff that shouldn't even be able to touch him. Like, but I love that Justice League cartoon. I really do. I absolutely love it.
I have spoken.